Hello there, and welcome again to EAP on Device. We do hope that you enjoyed last week's content and found it very interesting and useful to your English level, and you are very excited for this week, week 3. Last week's outcome focused on reading stories and reviewing past simple tense in reading, learning about how to construct, identify, and writing compound sentences, and learning about using coordinating conjunctions in writing, listening for main ideas and details of a story with focus on signals and listening, learning phrases and signals to assist in giving cohesive narrative in speaking, and learning about practicing the present and past simple in grammar. In week 3, we will learn the following. In the reading section, we'll be focusing on reviews such as tech reviews and restaurant reviews. In the writing part, we'll learn how to construct complex sentences. In the listening section, will be about the differences between likes and dislikes. In the speaking part, you'll be talking about things you like and dislike. You will learn 10 new vocabularies from the academic word list. And finally, you will gain an overview of nouns and verbs in the grammar section. Our learning outcome for this week is reading a technology review and restaurant review focusing on the main ideas and details, constructing, identifying, and writing complex sentences, also identifying the purpose and the use of subordinators, listening to a city review and a holiday review for main ideas and details, learning phrases to talk about reviews, likes and dislikes in speaking, and learning about nouns and verbs in the grammar section.
Yeah, I'm good. Yourself? You know what I did last weekend? I went with my friends, went to watch a movie, went to the gym, and I'm playing basketball. What did you do? Huh? Nah, I wouldn't do that. That doesn't sound cool.
Jeff,
What?
that's really not a good way to make a first impression.
Oh, really? I did not know.
Hi, I'm Garry Mills. I'm the Director of Short Courses and Career Training with Origo Education Group. I'm a coach, public speaker, and also an ex-police officer, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself and how those experiences have helped me discover how best to make a first impression, and that includes our body language and our tone and the words we use. Public speaking is a real passion of mine, and I do that day to day, and I travel all over the country and overseas to speak to different groups about many different topics. So as a coach, I coach executives, I coach business leaders, I coach groups, individuals, and I've even coached people to interview for jobs. I host business functions and also deliver presentations to business leaders around the country on leadership and high performance. I was a police officer for just over 10 years. I was actually a bodyguard for our Prime Minister here in Australia and also for many presidents. And the biggest skill to have in that line of work wasn't trying to duck the bullets, drive the fast cars, wear the flash suits. It was actually being able to communicate to people and to make a good impression because you're representing your country and you're representing the Prime Minister or maybe the President of another country. The biggest thing about first impressions are body language means so much, and people are watching you before you even open your mouth. And if your body language doesn't match the words you say, people are not likely to believe what you're saying. So we've got some really cool tips for you to give you the best opportunity to make a great first impression. It wasn't that long ago that the average person had an attention span of 7 seconds. But thanks to social media, everybody on their phones scrolling, that's down to 3 seconds. So that's not a lot of time to make a good first impression. So how do we do that? In 3 seconds, We make eye contact, give a nice warm smile, shake hands, because in the West, shaking hands is a sign of friendship and it's a greeting. And the other thing is, introduce yourself in your name. And when they repeat their name back to you, say it's nice to meet you, Joe, Jeff, Sally. And a good little tip to try and remember somebody's name is not only just repeating it back, but when they say their name, you can think of somebody that you know has the same name. And then every time you think of that person, you'll be able to link that to the person you know. And you're less likely to forget their name and make a great first impression. Hi, I'm here with Kat, and we're going to be talking about making that first impression in just 3 seconds. So let's go through it, let's demonstrate how we do that. So I'm here meeting Kat for the first time. We're looking at each other, a little smile, we extend our hands. Hello, my name's Garry.
Hi Gary, my name is Kat. Nice to meet you.
And it's very nice to meet you too, Kat. And it's simple as that. The handshake is a really important part of that first greeting. So what we're going to do, we're going to put our hands out, straight up and down. If we do it like this, it means I'm generally trying to dominate our relationship, which isn't good for a first impression. So we're like this, our webbing of our thumbs are touching each other, our hands wrap around, firm, but I'm not squeezing Kat's hand, that's really important. And all we're doing is we're just moving our hand up and down, maybe 3 times, 4. We don't stand here all day doing this, because that's really not how we meet people. And I'll say, hello, my name's Garry.
Hi Gary, my name is Kat. Nice
Kat,
to meet
it's
you.
really nice to meet you
Nice
too.
to meet you.
And then we just simply take our hands away. That's how you shake someone's hand, which is a really important part of greeting people in the West. Jeff, I went to the movies last night and I saw this really good movie.
Listen to me first. I went to a movie today and I saw the best movie ever. You know, like it was about, I don't know if you ever seen it, but then, you know, like probably too much detail to tell you. What else?
Yeah.
What else are you doing this weekend?
Well, I'm going to go to Sydney tomorrow.
Oh, dude, last time I went to Sydney, it was super crowded. Like, I wouldn't recommend going there if I was you.
Jeff's not really interested in what I have to say, does he? He's interrupting, and every time I mention something, he really talks about what he's been doing. Doesn't make me feel very important, or that Jeff's really interested in what I have to say. Is that right, Jeff? Let's try this again, and this time, Jeff's going to show us how he makes a really good impression. Jeff, I went to the movies last night.
Oh, really? What movie did you watch?
I went and watched Endgame.
Endgame. Love that movie. What's your favorite scene in that movie?
Probably when Thor, puts on all that weight and he's pretty funny and he doesn't want to go and fight and he's living in that village.
That was a big contrast from part 1.
Yeah.
What are you doing for this weekend?
I'm actually going to go to Sydney.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to go to Sydney, but yeah, I've got new to work and stuff.
Yeah, okay. Have you been to Sydney recently?
Last time I went there was a month ago. It was a little bit crowded, but hopefully next time when I go there, I'll have some locals to take me there.
Okay, that'd be really good.
Yeah, that would be awesome, yeah?
Good talking to you, Jeff.
Great talking to you always.
See, that's a much better example of how to make a good first impression. Even though Jeff and I know each other, it's still really important to make those good impressions. And one of the things you would have noticed is sometimes it can be hard to know what to say next. Well, the best tip that I can say is ask a question. We asked each other about Sydney, about the movies. That's a great way to actually find out more information and to have a really good conversation. And the other really important thing is be more interested than interesting, which means when I'm talking to Jeff, I'm more interested in what Jeff has to say than what I have to say. And same for Jeff. Notice how he changed and became a much better person for having to talk to when he became more interested in what I had to say rather than what he had to say. So remember that little tips. Ask questions and be more interested than interesting. I wonder if there's anything you notice that can be improved in the way they're sitting. Let's take a look. Here we have Jeff. He's not looking very interested when I was sitting on the other side of the table. He's sitting back slouched in his chair, very blank look on his face, not very interested and making a very good impression. So the way I would recommend is for Jeff to look better and make a great first impression is to firstly sit up straight in his chair. We're not slouching anymore. It's quite okay to have your hands on the table. You could have them maybe touch together, just comfortable, and put a smile on his face. That makes a big difference for making a great first impression. Now we're looking here at Kat. Kat's got her head down, looking down. She's looking maybe a bit nervous, shy. Maybe she's just doesn't want to be there. I'm not really sure, but that doesn't really matter. What's important is she wants to make a really good first impression. So for Kat, I would get her to lift her head up, because we talked about eye contact being really important. And if she puts her feet flat on the floor and feels the back of the chair in her back, that gives great contact. It makes you feel centered, which means very present where you are. And Kat could just rest her hands in her lap, wherever she's comfortable, and just looking at who she's talking to, maybe a little smile, looking more interested. And finally we have Jenny here. She's pretty much slouching down on her hand, looking very bored, disinterested, and I'm sure there might even be a chance she's asleep. But what we need to do is Jenny, if you put your hand into a that's it, and lift your head up and straighten up a little bit, she's looking more interested and just maybe reflecting on what is being said. So a subtle change or a little change like that makes a really big difference. So if we look at everybody here, just those small little changes make a big difference for making a great first impression.
Oh, well, work is done. Time to go home. Oh, hi there. Sorry, work is done. I'm going home, and you did a good job finishing this week's content. So you made it through to the end. So congratulations. And remember, the learning outcome for this week are as follows.